News with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, Derek, I'm so happy to have you here, and please just jump in early and often with some of these stories.
All right. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, Felicity Huffman has pleaded guilty in that college admission scam. In a statement, the former Desperate Housewives star says, quote, "I am in full acceptance of my guilt and with deep regret and shame over what I have done. I accept full responsibility for my actions and will accept the consequences that stem from those actions."
I got the regret part because you got busted.
Yeah.
And the shame is being foisted on you. I don't know. Do they really feel shame? Like,
had they not been caught, I doubt it very much.
You can't. You have been shamed.
Yes.
But it's like saying, I feel your pain because I kicked you in the shin. Like, it's sort of like you guys have made me ashamed, so
right.
I'm ashamed. But I'm not really ashamed because I never would have brought this up or thought about it.
No,
otherwise.
but I think this kind of thing plays well with judges and juries, yes?
Yes, very well. I mean, look, she cut the plea deal. She's going to get significantly less time. I think also the case against her was rough. Like, you know, when you're cheating the SATs, it's hard to say you had sort of an innocent mind about that. The Lori Loughlin case is a little bit different. I mean, she was sending the fake rowing pictures. Maybe she thought it was all part of the deal. I don't know how you spin this. I think you got to plea in this kind of case.
We've talked about that. You know, there's a difference between just numbers wise. Felicity Huffman is, you know, $15,000 all in. Lori Loughlin's $300,000, and you think, well, what the hell?
500.
Five. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, but Felicity paid $15,000 to a 36-year-old Harvard graduate. To correct her daughter's answers at the SAT. It gave her a 400-point boost over her previous score. And then they were discussing doing that with the next daughter as well. They say they're good.
Couldn't she just groom her to marry Ed Hardy?
Easier.
Exactly. Like, you're a hot chick who's already making money on Instagram. Just do what I did. Just marry some fashion mogul guy, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's why Lori Loughlin's daughter is mad at Lori Loughlin. She's like, I wanted no part of this. I'm a YouTube celebrity. I got a Sephora deal. What do I need to go to USC for?
They're saying as part of her plea deal, prosecutors are recommending 4 to 10 months and a fine. But with Lori, like you said, it's different, and you probably have a much deeper understanding of it. Her and her husband Massimo Giannulli were not part of that deal. And TMZ reports Tuesday morning that the couple was offered a plea deal featuring a minimum of 2 years.
They were, and we got a new story that went up today that said if they didn't accept that deal in time, they were going to bring additional charges, and they pulled the trigger on that.
They did. I have that here.
How much of this?
Here.
So
now they're tagging money laundering on.
I think there's a lot of stuff like this isn't good right after the Jussie Smollett thing because it's like we're tired of rich people buying their way out of prison. If this were you or me, we'd be in prison by now. And so now
there's a lot of pitchforks.
A lot of pitchforks and torches.
Sacrificial lamb kind of thing.
We're not. This is the kind of thing. I mean, and also Trump and current politics. Like if this thing happened 6 years ago, it'd just be like, hey, business as usual. Rich guys, this is how they do it. Yeah. Cut them a check. Nothing to see here, right? But the
people want
climate is bad for this, right?
Yeah,
we're at a moment in time where it's bad to be.
Yeah. So it says Loughlin and Giannulli were charged last month with a conspiracy to commit mail fraud. And like you said, they tacked on money laundering. And the new indictment adds that charge for all 16 defendants. So there's people that are far less famous, but they're pillars of their community, I'm quite sure.
Speaking of pillars, what happened to the Robert Kraft people that there's more famous people than Robert Kraft that are going to come out and we never got it?
Where are they? They promised this for the longest time, and there's a few other like CEOs you've never heard of, but not famous people. It's just Robert Kraft, although that story was wild because we had those documents and the description of the services Mr. Kraft received, like waltzing in on a couple occasions. I've never seen the footage. And they are fighting like hell to keep that footage under wraps.
About half footage because I'm a little south of that border. But yeah, so what was the description?
It was sort of dates and times. They had planted the cameras in the massage parlor, and they said he went in, he received the services of one woman, and it was oral services, and then he came back the next day. He had 2 women, got a little tag team hand action. So it was just sort of descriptions of sex acts being performed, and the time period hurts his argument because you could go in and say, I got a massage, and then at the end, this woman just touched me. I don't know.
Right,
I was paying for the massage, but the time period was so short, it would seem to be just sex.
I was so disoriented, I made an appointment for the next day.
Right, I don't know. I love this
like
place.
if you're at a kiosk.
I just had a Groupon, and I don't know.
At a kiosk in an airport.
Tomorrow.
I know. I needed to get in there.
Yeah.
He was doing it the day before the AFC Championship last year.
Well, he needed to relieve some
guys
stress.
loosen up one way.
It's pretty wild that you hop on a private jet after it.
Yeah.
So I'm dying to know what you know about this, Derek. The AP reports that TV actress Allison Mack pleaded guilty Monday to charges she was involved, that name will sound familiar in a second, in a scheme to turn women into sex slaves for that spiritual cult leader in upstate New York, the NXIVM group.
Yeah.
She's 36. She admitted to her crimes and apologized.
Heartburn medication?
To the woman who prosecutors say were exploited by Keith Rainier. He was the self-proposed leader of this group. Mack, she was known for her role in Smallville. She's to be sentenced on September 11th on 2 racketeering counts that each carry minimum terms of 20 years in prison. However, it's likely she would face far less under these sentencing guidelines. And the plea means that Mack will avoid going to trial with Rainier, who pleaded not guilty and denied any wrongdoing.
That's right. She basically threw the cult leader under the bus. Right? I mean, she's now she was defending him initially. They both went in and said, this is outrageous. We're not a cult. And now he's fighting on his own because she turned on him, which is very common. She's saving her own hide. And now they were branding people. She was, luring in other women into the cult. So the allegations
reaching
were rough.
out on Twitter like, hey, Kelly Clarkson, I'd love to talk to you about women's empowerment. DM me.
Come on in.
Yeah, there's a lot of
I'm trying to figure some semantics thing. If it's human trafficking, it's always, I don't know, some ethnicity. If it's white slavery, it's white people. But they're not picking cotton, they're having sex, right?
Yes.
Like, so, or
different kind of slavery,
whatever they do in their refractory period is their business. But what I'm saying
there
is,
could be
ostensibly there to have sex, not harvest, right?
Not sharecropper.
I'm a little out of the loop.
I'm just asking.
You haven't kept up with sex trafficking, but that's where things stand now.
But human trafficking, the difference between white slavery or sex slavery or whatever and human trafficking, is there a difference? It all gets down to sex, right?
There's also, when people talk about human trafficking, they talk about indentured servants as nannies, housekeepers, that kind of thing. So who really, I think it's a wider net.
Right, so you're just banging.
So all roads really lead to sex trafficking, though. Usually, you're not trafficking them. Yeah,
right.
You can traffic them as a nanny that you then want to traffic in sex, because I think all the money is in human sex trafficking.
Right. All right.
So we'll see what happens.
That's a light topic. What's next?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So the Kentucky doctor seen in that now very famous viral video that's come up a time or two, being removed off of United Airlines, he is now speaking publicly for the first time since 2017.
He spoke publicly at the time.
Yeah.
He screamed publicly. On April 9th, 2017, David Dow was traveling from O'Hare in Chicago to Louisville when an airline employee informed him that he would need to deplane because the flight was overbooked. He refused to get off the plane. He felt he was being discriminated against. He says he then remembers being pulled from his seat, but says he doesn't much remember anything else. I have 2 clips. This is from his interview on GMA with Amy Robach. Here's part of his recollection of what happened.
Have you watched the video?
Later on.
What's that like to watch?
I just cried.
You can hear you screaming in pain.
I don't know, I just cried.
Dow suffered a concussion, broken nose, and 2 missing teeth.
Good.
He says he was heading home to open a free clinic for veterans when the aviation security officers first approached him.
Do you remember how quickly things escalated?
I think very fast.
This is scintillating.
I think very quick.
Were you expecting it to get physical at any point?
Whenever you climb on a commercial flight, you always you're taking your life in your hands. You're always ready to do combat.
Hard-hitting questions.
That's what we do.
And when you think things escalated quickly, they never escalate that quickly. There's always a chance before you're dragged.
We're asking you for the 40th time to get up, sir.
Get up.
My favorite person on the planet is the dingbat chick who's sitting 3 seats away, sees a guy in the windbreaker with the mace on his belt saying, sir, you need to stand up. Sir, 45 warnings. At some point he goes, sir, I'm going to physically remove you. And at some point when he puts his hands on the doctor, the chick yells, oh my God, what's happening? And it's like, you have no context.
Exactly what we laid out.
So
yes.
you're just in the shower, and we just slung the curtain over and dove into it with you with security guard. It's like, nobody knows what's happening more than you do.
I was just reading my Sky Mall.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous. Yeah. I mean, and the clips, every clip that was run was as he's being dragged, so it seems very urgent and sudden.
Yes.
It doesn't have the preceding 15 minutes that they said, you don't own the damn seat. Get out. Get off the plane. There's no racial element to it. This story bothered me for a long
piece
time.
Of shit this guy is. And also, it's like, look, we've all been there. My wife's been there. We've all been in that situation where maybe there's a mistake, maybe there's a paperwork issue, maybe there's something. When somebody with authority tells you to get up and walk off the plane, you get up and walk off the plane. You can
listen to him.
Cry racism later, cry whatever later.
Deal with it.
Get them to give you a voucher to go to Maui or whatever that is, or some free Fiesta mix. But for that moment, for everyone else on the goddamn plane, stand up and obey. Otherwise, you'll be dragged off the plane.
Absolutely.
There is no scenario where they ask you 20 times and they go, you know what, I'm hoarse.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the lounge.
Deal with it later. You know?
Deal with it later.
Deal with it later.
That's right.
Well, at the risk of making you madder, there is one more clip.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to hear what
here's Dow talking about his life after the incident and after his settlement, by the way, for an undisclosed amount.
3 weeks later, Dow reached an undisclosed settlement with the airline. Dow had instantly become the source of national headlines, his personal life under a microscope, including a once temporarily suspended medical license.
How did you handle all of that attention?
Get the point, I have to hiding.
Could you go to work? Could you leave the house?
No. I stay for months in the house.
Now
Yeah,
retired
'cause
Dow
you're
says his
fucking
faith and
lunatic.
charity work helped him through all the unwanted attention. And today, he can see the good that came from the experience.
Yeah, he hammered a check for $500K.
And he's a
That's
real
the good.
shrinking violet. I couldn't leave. I couldn't leave the house. You were a guy who made a scene on an airplane and got dragged down the runway.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
either.
You're a guy who makes scenes. That's who you are, Dow.
Guy's a pile of shit. I hate him.
Yeah.
I hate him.
You don't have strong feelings against David Dow. I had the same.
I want to know what I would love to know how long the lead up was. You know what I mean?
Oh, it was long.
I'm imagining it was.
It's always long. Well, we saw tape of they get rid of the convenient part because it makes it look like more of a victim.
Right.
But there was a lot of you got to get up.
Right.
I mean,
Of course there was. Airline doesn't want this.
They don't want it,
this.
even if it was 7 times,
Sure.
it's still
That's
the person
significant.
told
It's
you to
enough.
stand up and walk off the goddamn plane. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And the story as presented was pretty puffy. What are we listening to? Oh, what?
Sorry.
The story as it was presented was pretty puffy. It was like his life was under a microscope. So he temporarily suspended. I imagine suspending a medical license is a procedure. Like you don't just like call him up one day, hey, your license is suspended. Like you probably have to have board hearings.
Yeah.
You probably have to have something written up, investigation. Like it's not just he lost his medical license temporarily. It's like, oh, you had your medical license suspended. You probably did something significant.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Sorry. What's next?
Well, this just came up on my news notifications, and we did pretty much cover it, but it's funny how they worded it on People. It says, Lori Loughlin rejected a plea deal before getting hit with new charges. Sources say they decided to roll the dice.
Good luck.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. So getting back to that beautiful, heartfelt Conway Twitty song from earlier about possible child rape.
Boom, boom, boom.
It reminded me of this story. Former Rolling Stones bassist Bill Wyman has been booted from the DocFest Film Festival in Sheffield, England in June. He was scheduled to do a Q&A session, which makes sense because it was a documentary about him, but organizers took back the invitation following protest over his relationship with 13-year-old Mandy Smith in 1984. In 1984, by the way, Bill was 47. He was never charged, and when she turned 18, they got married and divorced a couple years later. And by the way, if that's not weird enough...
Wait a minute. He was never charged, and they got divorced when she turned 18?
Yeah. They got together when she was 13. It went public when she was 16. They got married when she was 18, and I think divorced when she was 20.
I mean...
But she says all consensual. They were like, even at 13, she... to the extent she
I don't
could...
want to defend the guy,
she was a party girl.
At 18, crow's feet start cropping up, the breasts start sagging, stretch marks around the midsection. I mean, you're knocking on the door at 20 at that point. I mean, it's time
right
to
around the
That's
corner.
why they got divorced.
Well,
Yeah,
know,
you
like
see the writing on the wall.
Well, you know when a car hits like 100,000 miles and
It
seals start going and it
wear and tear.
Wear
It
and
still
tear.
works, technically, I
But it's time to
suppose.
kind of trade up.
Yeah.
It'll get you
understand.
there.
You make a valid
Can't
point.
blame the man.
There is a weirder part of this story, by the way. So prior to the couple getting divorced in 1993, Wyman's oldest son, Stephen, he was 30 at the time, he decided he was going to marry Mandy's mother, Patsy, who was 46. That couple's marriage reportedly lasted 2 years. They divorced in 95. So a lot of swapping
Fun.
in the Smith-Wyman.
I hear these stories all the time. Like, my dad got remarried. I had a stepsister, but I wasn't like, well, I guess I got to bang her now. Like, I was just like, I guess I have a stepsister.
Those are the cards you're dealt.
There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
I don't
My
feel
hands are tied.
obliged. I just felt like, all right.
Here's my question. Does a guy like Bill Wyman survive this? Is he famous enough to survive this? I feel like MJ is now kind of surviving MJ.
But is
right?
he
People
famous?
are playing his music again. I think if you're big enough, you survive it.
But
I think
25
Wyman's got
years
it.
ago.
I'll take the other side. Is Bill Wyman famous enough to even be impacted by this? Or does anyone outside this room know who Bill Wyman is? Outside this
Any
building?
classic rock fans, I
yeah.
imagine.
You think so?
Well, he was part of the Stones.
Not by sight. Like, you certainly wouldn't recognize him
Right.
walking past. But you'd go Bill Wyman, and then you'd go of the Rolling Stones, and people go, oh yeah. And then the deep cutters, like the people did the classic rock
Right.
DJing and stuff, know Bill Wyman, but needs some sort of context, I think. So he could probably fly under
Yeah.
the radar.
Yeah. Skate.
I have to admit, when I first saw the story, I was like, how is he related to Jane Wyman, and what happened?
Yeah.
So even I was off on
She's
that
an
one.
outlaw.
Yeah.
Scandalous, I tell you. So he's been asked to leave.
Well, he's no longer invited to the Q&A about his life.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I guess
this
someone
is-
else is speaking on your behalf.
Right.
Well,
Charlie Watts is coming in.
From what I read, because Mandy Smith apparently ended up writing a book, and from all this from her perspective, and she was a 13-year-old party girl in the North London party circuit. Her and her sister, who was like 15, they looked older. They were friends with all the bouncers. They got into some like award show party, and that's where Bill saw her dancing up front, in like the snake pit. And
Bouncers or Bouncy Castle? Where do you mean? Where's she friends with?
I'm
All
going to
the
look it up
bouncy
again.
castles.
Yep. And then he knew how old she was. He said, I'm going to introduce you to my bandmates. Don't tell them. And then when she was 14, they'd go out on the town, and she was to tell everyone that she was a secretarial intern. Or
Because
she was,
14 is much more acceptable.
Yeah,
At,
yeah.
That, at that point, you bring her out on the town.
Right. And it wasn't until she was 16 that it was revealed she was
flaunt it.
16.
I don't know
then it's
why.
like, just wait a few months.
Get ready, Max Spada. I invented a new drink.
Oh.
I was thinking of she was drinking a Shirley Temple, but I came up with a new drink. It's Jägermeister and Yahoo, and it's called a Shirley Hemphill.
Wow.
Hennessy probably would have been better.
Oh, sorry, Hennessy
Yahoo.
and Yahoo.
You.
Sorry, Yahoo. God damn it, I screwed up both of them.
You had none of the parts of your beverage.
We'll clean it up in the post.
TM.
None of that.
Derek, we don't make fun of
fixed
our
all
boss
of
around
it.
here. We don't make fun of the boss around here.
Yoo-hoo, Yahoo, Yoo-hoo. Sorry, Yoo-hoo and Hennessy. Or Courvoisier, I guess.
Cavassier.
You like Courvoisier? I like Hennessy.
I like Hennessy too.
Hennessy and Yoo-hoo. It's a Shirley Hemphill. All right. Next time you go to LAX, I'm going to order one of those.
It's a long flight. Making a double Shirley Hemphill.
Hold the Yahoo.
All right. You don't know Shirley Hemphill is, do you?
Me
You
no.
don't. No. But you got to find a picture of her, and then you'll laugh.
Internet is down right now.
Oh, the internet's down.
It actually is.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
All right.
Can I ask
sorry.
Derek a question?
Yeah.
I've been handed your bio here. I don't know you that well. I know you through daycare, of
Sure.
course, and mutual activities, birthday parties and such. Reading your bio is very interesting. Says meeting new parents is the worst part of parenting. I thought we were friends. I thought we were.
You're
getting
all right.
along
You
so
slipped through the
well. I
cracks,
thought we
but
were getting along.
you don't echo
Do
this.
you really not like meeting new parents?
It's horrendous. It's horrendous. I had kids. I had my first kid at 35. I don't need room. I don't have room in my life for new people. I really don't. All we have in common is a kid.
I feel like a mixed message is coming here.
I like you. You
Thanks.
slip through the cracks, and Mary pushes me out to go meet new people, but I don't care for it. I'm sort of set in life. I got the friends I got.
Yeah, I've had that unfortunate conversation with. I've had that horrible conversation with my wife before, where she's like, "What about my friends, like husbands?" I'm like, "The guy's got a ponytail and he wears like a Raiders jersey and he's a fitness instructor at Bally's." And then she goes, "I hang out with your friends." Jimmy Kimmel and Joel McHale. Like,
My
of
friends
course.
are cool.
Like,
Yeah,
who
my
would
friends
want to
are
hang
cool.
out with Jimmy Kimmel? Come on.
I don't want to fold in every new person.
Yeah, I
but
feel
You
like
geez.
start hanging around with Stephen Colbert. That's a different
Yeah,
story.
bring him by the house.
I feel like we're lucky enough, the dads at least, and the moms to an extent, but the dads that we mutually know in the classroom and all that stuff are pretty cool, except for that one, you know.
Yeah, you like everyone. You're much more like
The best part is people are going to listen and they're going to think right you're talking about. So.
All right, let me hit Geico while we find a picture of Shirley Hemphill. It's going to make everyone laugh. All right, let's do 1.5 more.
Oh, right. Well, Ronnie James Dio is going
He's
out.
the man on the silver mountain.
Oh, you're gonna like this.
He's the man on the... Yeah.
He's going out on tour, hitting North
Oh,
America
I didn't
this
know
summer.
Dio was alive.
This
Well,
is news?
Here's the thing. He's not alive.
I thought he was dead.
This
He
is
sure
news.
is. Dio Returns kicks off May 31st in Florida with dates booked so far through late June.
Sounds like a warning.
He is
Dio returns.
He is a hologram, and he will be on stage with 3 living members of the final Dio lineup. Now, just to make sure we're all on the same page, Dio, who sung with bands like Black Sabbath, Rainbow, and his own self-titled band, he died of stomach cancer when he was 67. The company behind Dio Returns is also producing a holographic tour featuring Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
No. But other
We
this is a
we
thing
didn't
now.
need the real Frank Zappa. What do we need?
That's such a weird
One of the most
choice.
overrated
The most
guys
overrated.
in history. I
The
tried
most.
to listen to his
I
music
know.
when everyone told me he was cool in college. He sucks.
He sucks.
He
And
sucks. Tell me
everyone we
what
know
am I
who likes
missing?
Frank Zappa is like a music nerd. Let's say someone I know who likes Frank Zappa is like a music nerd. How is the hologram Frank Zappa going to satisfy his real fans?
I don't know.
Because
but
they're like into the
Frank Zappa is
wail on the
it's the
guitar
exact
and-
same thing as Lou Reed. Whenever you talk to music
Yes.
files, they go, "Oh no, you don't know," and I
don't
go,
get
"Fine." Produce one song, then produce a song. He has recordings. Play them to me and find me a good Lou Reed lead song. They go, well, then, and at some point they pull out a song and then they hear it with you and they go, well, this isn't a good example. I say, well, that's the one you pulled out. So that's all I got. That guy's the biggest blowhard sack of shit on the planet. God, and I'm sorry being lectured by assholes about how great they are all the time. Good. Produce a song that we can all enjoy.
Your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
He's considered
Conway
such a
Twitty.
legend. I have to know all his. I have to know every Zappa kid because of Frank Zappa, and
I
none
know.
of them are
Yeah.
good. I don't
Well,
get
this
it.
is going to be a thing in the future because they've done opera singer Maria Callas, they did Roy Orbison, they did Tupac at the 2012 Coachella, and there was this big push to do Amy Winehouse, but that has been stopped, and there's all of this ethical morality question of would the singer have wanted this? So this is going to be a thing now. The estate has to decide on their behalf. Are we sending our dearly departed back out on tour?
The Tupac hologram was cool, but I gotta say, who's clamoring for Dio? I liked
Yeah.
Dio, but who's clamoring to see Ronnie James Dio as a hologram?
Dawson, what's the best? What's Rainbow's hit?
Stone Cold.
Oh,
There's another one. Hold on.
Since you've been gone.
On the Street of Dreams, that one.
Oh, the Street of Dreams. That's right.
The internet really is down. It would play.
Oh, damn internet!
You guys can just
What's up
do
with
a
the
duet.
internet. Oh, there's Shirley. Hell, everybody.
Make it a double.
So it's
Fuck, anybody
Yoo-Hoo
else?
and Courvoisier, and that's Shirley Hemphill.
No, Hennessy.
Oh, Hennessy.
Oh my God!
I can't get my
Eventually
little drink
we'll get this right.
Please seriously order that next time you're at the airport.
I want that in my room. I want
And
I really do.
what's our page at the airport? Oh, Seaward.
Harry Seaward.
Harry Seaward. All right, someone page Harry Seaward, and when you're done paging Harry Seaward, but you got to say fast.
Your Shirley Hemphill is ready, Mr. Seaward. Harry Seaward, your
you.
Shirley Hemphill is ready.
Yeah, everybody, please tweet us your pictures of Shirley Hemphill that you order at the bar.
Yeah, and people would record paging Harry Seaward at the
That's right.
at the airport
been
too.
sent
So
to
give
us.
us those as well.
Yeah.
All right, internet's still down. Can't hear any man on the Silver Mountain or I'm trying. Wait, since you've been gone, is that a? Since you've been gone,
The Kelly Clarkson.
That's what I was
That's
gonna
the only
say.
since you've been gone.
Huh? That's Rainbow, right?
Was she covering Dio?
Yeah, is she going to be a hologram too? I think she's alive.
Yeah. Since you've been gone, that's the best Rainbow song. Oh, that's a great rock song. We'll find it.
We'll never know.
All right, let's do one more.
All
Gina
right.
Grad.
Well, for you little kids, be careful when you take them to the movie theater. Fox News reports that children eagerly waiting to see the new film Peppa Pig Festival of Fun began their theater experience in England in tears after trailers for horror movies featuring blood and violence were played before the movie.
Peppa.
Parents...
Peppa.
Oh, Peppa. Parents briefly removed their children from the screening when trailers for Ma and Brightburn were played before the children's movie. Ma, that's the Octavia Spencer movie. Apparently, the trailer filled with bloody bodies. It includes a scene of a teen being hit by a truck. Brightburn is a superhero horror film. I don't know if you know about it. It's with Elizabeth Banks. Yeah. Apparently, shows a child wearing a mask and seemingly killing a bloodied woman at the end.
Looks pretty intense.
Shows a lot of hanging bodies. The movie theater spokesman apologized for any distress caused by the incident and says they're not quite sure how this happened.
Oh, I got a beef with TMZ.
Uh-oh.
Every year around Halloween, they run a lot of spots with Knott's Berry, Not
Universal
Scary
Studios.
Farm or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're just sitting there watching Derek cracking wise about some supermodel with an ass crack shot on someone's yacht, on DiCaprio's yacht, and then they cut right to the guy with the coveralls on and all the teeth capped in silver and like weird, and I'm like,
it's jarring.
I need a little ramp up into this. I need a little buffer.
You need a little something, yeah, a little buff.
I need like one of those.
It's jarring.
It's jarring.
It is
you
jarring.
can't get away from
The
it.
mentally ill dentist.
Yeah, they hit, hit it right there.
Yep.
Like, yeah. And by the way, I don't know. Shouldn't the dental profession be a little upset about how they're being portrayed? Like everyone's a maniac dentist. Like then I have a podiatrist who's gone. He's gone insane.
Never the podiatrist.
An
Never the
oncologist.
acupuncturist.
Get him out of here. He's got a machete. It's always a crazy dentist.
Always a rogue dentist.
Yeah.
The dentist mutters, always the optometrist to go crazy. I don't seem to mention that.
He's an ear, nose, and throat guy. Then what about you march your kids through this, and then you
exactly
then we
why.
got to go get a checkup on Tuesday? Like, how's that going to work emotionally? Crazed dentist.
Not well.
Always.
Yeah.
Ever since Steve Martin. That's
right.
Little Shop of Horrors. He crazed dentist.
'Cause I'm a dentist.
That's it.
Yep.
All right. Well, the internet's down, so we don't get to hear "Since You've Been Gone" best.
That is a great song.
That is a great.
But it was alive enough for Shirley Hemphill. That's all.
That's a great Dio. Dio with Rainbow song. We got it hooked up. Oh, good. I'm going to rock out. You guys know this. It's got clap. That's a Molly Hatchet grunt. Or Molly Hatchet and a whistling. All right. Anyway, Dio's going to be missed.
You don't have to miss him now.
It's boom, 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 boom. He's also one of these guys who kept the long hair even when he got old, and it started thinning out, but
Yeah,
it still
good for
got
him.
long and
Good.
black. Yeah. All right. Where's this show, man? I'm seeing it.
In Florida.
Oh, well,
Eh?
we're gonna be
In
in
October,
still seeing it?
maybe?
Still want to make the
Be
trip?
there.
It's supposed to go through June, but maybe we'll have him extended.
Held over. He'll be on the cruise.
We have to slip that song in before Hocus Pocus during live shows.
Yeah, let's go make the playlist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great song.
I love that song. All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Boom, boom, boom.
That was the news with Gina Grad.